Joseph Stalin is remembered as one of the most ruthless leaders of the 20th century. He ruled the Soviet Union with an iron fist, eliminating political enemies, reforming the country, and leaving a profound historical mark. But beyond executions, arrests, and deportations, there was a technique for controlling collective memory that was, to say the least, curious, and in a way, absurd. Stalin had a habit of erasing people from official photographs, literally rewriting history. Yes, you heard right. If you fell from grace, you could disappear not only from politics, but also from photography. Today, we'll explore this bizarre episode revealing how one of the world's most rigorous dictatorships was mixed with photo retouching. In the 1930s, the Soviet Union was a country in flux. Stalin was consolidating his power and eliminating any threat to his rule. But he also needed to maintain the illusion of the Communist Party's unity and perfection. If someone fell from grace, they simply disappeared from the official record. And not just from politics, but also from public memory. Back then, there was no Photoshop, but there were talented editors and graphic artists. If a political ally or rival fell from grace, the solution was simple. Grab a pair of scissors, or retouch the image by hand. The result? Stalin could appear alone in a Politburo meeting portrait, even if he was originally surrounded by 10 people who now no longer existed. Just imagine, you go to work, attend an important meeting, and the next day, you've disappeared from official history. There are no videos, no photos, just an empty space or its carefully drawn replacement. One of the most famous cases is the famous photograph of the signing of the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk. Some figures who fell from grace were simply erased, and historians were only able to discover who they were decades later. Another example, photos of Stalin with important political allies, such as Nikolai Bukharin, who disappeared from official images after his execution in 1938. In some cases, the retouching was so obvious that even a child would notice someone had been removed. For Stalin, the manipulation of photos was part of a larger strategy to control the historical narrative. If the official story portrayed a strong and unified leader, no one would dare question the power of the state, and the psychological effect was striking. Colleagues and citizens began to doubt the existence of the missing persons. Collective memory adapted to what the images showed. In other words, if you no longer appeared in the photos, it was as if you had never existed. Although the objective was serious, the practice seems absurd to the modern eye. A ruthless dictator who controlled the lives and deaths of millions used scissors, pencils, and ink to erase people from official photographs. If you were alive, you could be one of the most powerful in the country. If you were erased, well, you now existed only as a shadow in the pages of history. It's hard not to laugh, even if it's a nervous laugh, when you imagine that Stalin's greatest weapon against human memory was a photo retouch. Today, historians can reconstruct who was at each meeting, and the effects of photographic censorship become clear. The episode shows how history can be visually manipulated, and how collective memory can be controlled with small but powerful adjustments. The restored photos are not just curiosities. They are documents that reveal the paranoia of a regime and the power of images over the perception of reality. Stalin died in 1953, but his photographs continue to teach lessons. The man who ruled the Soviet Union with an iron fist, who killed and imprisoned millions, also shows us that sometimes simply erasing someone from a photo is enough to erase part of history. A serious historical episode, but with a touch of irony. Even dictators need artists to edit reality. And so, between control, power, and ink, we learn that history is not always what it seems. Sometimes, it